function. How do you feel about that, David?
Yeah, I mean, ideally we would do something outside, but it doesn't sound like, obviously we can't do that in December, so that month is kind of hamstringing us a little bit.
Right.
If it's inside during COVID, I can't see too many people feeling comfortable showing up. So I'd almost be inclined to not do it if it's gonna, if COVID's going on. My thing is, I mean, I'm sure it'll still be around, but I mean, I just don't know. You see all these other countries that are finally getting through it, and so maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel, but I just have no idea one way or the other.
And the other thing is we also have to deal with Channel 48, the recording of it, because when we had talked about, and I think we mentioned it before, doing it when I talked to you, doing it just all through video and they putting it together, but that takes a lot of planning and months in advance. So that's why we have to. We're only 5 months out, right? This is July, and it's the 1st of December, so we're only 5 months out.
Okay. I see Joe has his hand raised. So Joe, you had a comment?
So you couldn't keep me quiet. Would there be any consideration to do something like what we did with high school graduations this year, which was extremely effective, and people really liked it. And actually, I can kind of see it become the norm for high schools. But there was every school, the principal, the superintendent, the school board chair did a video presentation, and then they held the presentation of diplomas on location with each individual student, and they were allowed to bring X number of audience members, and it was really personal. And so it might be something that we could do those everybody videotaped their speeches ahead of time, and then they were played, and then it might be the Channel 48 could go to wherever the presentation ceremony is, and then those could be live streamed following the presentation of the speeches. So you kind of get a combination of both. And they're used to doing that now because they just did it for all the high schools.
Okay. All right. Ginger, your mic is now open.
Hi, this is Ginger Gencott. This is not in response to Joe, because I think the high school thing was amazingly efficient. I attended a graduation also. But this is about our timeline, and our timeline right now says that August 1st, we'd have to do a public announcement for looking for nominees, and that September 25th, all of the applications completed would be due in. I think we would all be running pretty short to be able to accomplish that. And I also think that there's enough unrest going on in our city that things are evolving. And so it's very confusing, and I've not been able to be out with the community to, to solicit or to see a lot of folks that could be nominees myself. So I feel really pushed to be able to have to move forward on our timeline right now.
Okay. All right. Are there any other comments? Okay, Sylvia?
Am I here?
Yep, you're unmuted.
Yes, and one of our other issues is the 5 months that we've lost some of the community that would be nominated because they've lost their, I guess, their time to be active going forward. And then there was something else on my mind. What was it? Ginger, help me. We talked about just having to announce it ahead of time. We really do have to make a decision now, because we'd have to announce that we're going to have it, send out everything, or I don't know, would we? Anybody?
Teresa, you had a comment?
Yeah, Sylvia, I don't know exactly how we'd have to announce it, but I think we do have to publicly let folks know what we're doing. But and as I'm listening to both Joe and the idea of, time constraints, but also the fact that this is a year like no other. And so I'm wondering if we might be creative around the 2020 challenges and maybe do something for, Sylvia, you're always lifting unsung heroes as a collection that might be healthcare and essential workers. And, there might even be others we include in that, first responders, and, I don't know, but just the idea of maybe creatively trying to put, some sort of platform forward from the Human Rights Commission about how many, human lives have been saved and care taken for, with heroes right down to the community itself in being willing to socially isolate and sacrifice everything from jobs to, in some cases homes. And anyway, just a thought on how we might, creatively use some of those ideas and still be able to realize the value of what the Human Rights Commission brings to the community. And if, as Joe said, our city folks are used to that, it might be just something that would just be a matter of, one video short presentation that could say a lot.
Okay, thank you. Sylvia?
That's really a great idea. Yeah, are you talking about doing like a video or something and just put it on December 10th, for Human Rights Day, rather than having an award ceremony? You're muted.
Oh. Teresa?
Sorry, Dominic, should I be, I'm muting myself. I didn't know if you were.
Yeah, you want to make sure you don't unmute yourself. Let me do that.
Yes, Sylvia, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is it be just, still would be the Human Rights Awards, our event on the same day, on human rights, that day, so that we really do keep all of those things that we've been trying to lift for the community there. And yes, I was thinking that our city connections would be able to do the video presentation, whether we delivered it live like we did with Beatrice, doing something when we did the education panel, anything that we do can be delivered that way. And I think, Joe, it was a great idea to think of doing it differently.
All right, thank you. Luis, did I see your hand up?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Taking into consideration what everybody has said, first of all, do we have any candidates, and this is a straw poll between the committee here, do we have any candidates in mind that we would like to have them be awardees?
Ginger, I see your hand up. Ginger?
Oh, yes. I had my real hand up too, showing.
Oh yeah, you want to make sure you use your virtual hand.
Well, to answer Luis, I had one. I saw Joe had one finger up. We don't have a lot right now, but we haven't really asked the commission to move forward and collect. That's what we were going to do Thursday. Was, hey, get started. Let's bring our people forward. But I raised my hand to add an idea to these nice ideas that people are sharing, and maybe a presentation from us that is sort of like our annual report, what the commission has done for the year. to celebrate those things. And maybe that's the content is all done on that, and it would just have to be put into like a short video by our folks. So just putting another idea on the table for December 10th.
All right, thank you. Sylvia, did you have another comment?
Yes, also to remind everybody that we have elections November 4th, and it will only be 1 month after that with the current unrest, depending on who wins. I don't know what shape will the country, world will be in. So there's so many unknowns, and also with the COVID, like David was saying, scientists keep saying we're going to get a second wave, plus it's flu season, plus people are afraid to come out still. So if we're doing something online or virtual, it feels like we're not being fair to the recipient of the awards. And also when we're talking about awards, you know, we almost always have a law enforcement person that receives one. I'm not quite sure how that would be received at this time. So I'm for postponing the awards and maybe substituting it with something else. But, I don't know how you guys, is that where we're kind of headed?
Beatrice, you had a comment?
Yes. Actually, I think to have a virtual event, it is very wise. And the fact that people are going to be videotaped and the presentation and their speeches will be presented in Channel 48, it memorializes, you know, individuals. And this is a historical year, and not only in regards to, you know, the heroes that are saving the community regarding COVID-19, but also to acknowledge that there is a movement in our country, and especially in Virginia, in regards to different groups fighting for their rights, that they should be commended, as well as we have to speak about, you know, the issue that Sylvia is bringing up regarding the police. Number one, I don't feel that we are obligated every year to give something to the police. I mean, that is nominations, I suppose. But I feel that it will be useful to try to help the relationship between the Black community and the police department. So how can we do that? You know, perhaps it cannot be in an award ceremony, but hosting maybe a conversation between perhaps the Black Lives Matter, you know, groups in Virginia, and I'm sure that it is more than one African American group, in the police department and the Human Rights Commission. I think to make an effort to improve the relations between, you know, those entities would be very useful. So, you know, just to think out of the box. It doesn't have to be necessarily that we give awards all the time, but that we acknowledge and recognize the very important need for communication and for working for basically solving, and not in all aspects, but just beginning to repair the communication that you know seems to be broken. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Joe, you put your real hand up a while back. Did you have something to say?
Oh no, I was saying that I had someone to nominate for an award, and I agree with those. I know year, but I also think it is important that because of the difficulties and the type of year 2020 has grown to become, it's even more important to recognize those unsung heroes, as Teresa said, those people who have really made a difference in our community in some way. I mean, the video doesn't have to be just on that night. It can be linked to our webpage so that it can be watched over and over again. And again, I go back to those graduation ceremonies can be seen over and over and over again by the community, extended families, anywhere in the world. And I think it's also an opportunity for the Human Rights Commission and the work we're doing to gain some visibility in the community. So I agree with those who are saying it's an important year for us to continue, and we just have to be creative in how we're going to do it. And if we start those conversations now, I think it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa, is your hands up? Did you have something more to say?
I do.
Okay.
And I want to thank Beatrice for lifting. I too believe that though we may not see it yet, the contributions that are being lifted by both the essential workers and, as we say, the unsung heroes across the board in the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as the COVID-19 response. I'm thinking that, as we said, a creative response where we are still, we have the integrity of our awards, which Ginger, I agree that, anytime we could kind of, sing our own tune about what we do is important, but that's not what this is. So we could have that be, a piece as we introduce ourselves like we always do. But I do think that it is a year to be able to claim the contributions, not necessarily do a dialogue or panel or discussion, because that's something we do otherwise. We do all those things otherwise. So I would love to see us, if we can get the help, like Sylvia says, being aware of the time span, we would be lifting individuals, but they're individuals within a movement. So I will tell you, I've been on this committee since I've been on the commission, which is almost 9 years. It is very difficult to get, even if they're great appointees and people have great candidates, to get all those applications and everything in. It does take a lot of lead time, and then the follow-up time. And one thing we left on the table before that I would like us to address at this committee, this meeting, is that we have some unfinished business in the way of even our criteria. We changed it, but I'm not sure that we're all clear, because it wasn't so much human rights based as it was more doing good in the community based. So we changed some of that criteria, and I wanted to make sure we looked at it, as well as the whole ribbon, with the law enforcement piece that we talked about, even seeing how we might expand that into the sheriff department, because for law enforcement now to be getting a Human Rights Commission award, I don't know how those entities are viewing this. It looked like they were having some angst with how it was playing out. And I think those conversations are truly critical right now. And that might be the work of this committee. Why would do something else as far as lifting this as a different year, but still staying true to our awards.
Thank you. Okay, and Francis, you have a comment?
Yes, I do. Excuse me, I'm Frances Knight Thompson, and I'm a member of the Human Rights Commission. I'm just listening to everyone, and I appreciate so much of what you're saying. But I guess I'm going to come from a different aspect of it. I just feel like with the global pandemic and the social unrest and all of the things that are going on that are so incredibly serious and so deeply moving, I'm wondering, should we really consider holding out until next year before we make any awards, or it just for the sake of maintaining our concern for the community at large in the midst of the health crisis and the social issues as well. It's a ticketed event that we, excuse me, that we normally have. You know, that is certainly a concern. We also want to be sure that we honor in a manner that is respectful and really elevates the work of the persons, the timeline. We don't know, and all of the uncertainties of not knowing what would have to happen in December, and to do all the planning and all the running and all the things we have to do, and then to get to a month out and have to cancel the whole, you know, thing. I don't know. I just think everything is so tenable and so off center right now. I just think this is a year that we need to take some time to look back, as Teresa said, look at our criteria carefully, look at all of the things that we want to do and plan for 2021, even if it's early spring. I think we used to have the awards in March anyway, to have them, you know, early spring and March, when we can certainly, you know, be much, have our feet on the ground. Right now, I just feel like everything is, you know, kind of off kilter, and I don't know if this is a good time to even plan such a huge event that should have a big impact on the community. So that's just my piece. I mean, I'm still out there. I'm thinking and processing as we discussed, but I did want to put those things out there. I hope I made myself clear. I tried.
Thank you, Francis. Beatrice, you had a comment?
I just wanted to clarify to Francis that we feel the same way. And the suggestion that Joe put forth is that the awards ceremony will take place virtually, not in any physical space. And I don't know, maybe I would like to hear what you feel about it, because we're not talking about physically going to any space. What I heard was that people would go and contact the people that are going to be recognized, that they would be taped, and then a program will be formed and then broadcasted. And to me, that seems safe, and it would be lifting up the people that are working and deserve recognition in our community. But more importantly, I think that this is a year that basically we are witnessing history in the making. Right now, we're talking about many different human rights issues, from the removal of the statues, from the fact that young people of all backgrounds are out there risking their health in order for them to bring about change in our communities, that we cannot take the safe route and say we will not do anything. I just feel that it is important that, being the fact that this region doesn't have many human rights commissions, that we actually take this year and do something in that regard. So that is why my position is that we consider really doing something in December, and maybe just work into how we can do this where it could be honoring really the people that are going to be recognized. And I think that there's time.
Thank you. Just one, I want to take a moment for one housekeeping issue. Please be sure when you're done speaking to put your hand down, just so your virtual hand down, just so I know that you are done and you don't have anything more to say. So, Francis, you had a rebuttal?
Yes, not a rebuttal, just want to respond.
Okay.
To what she said. Yeah, I did understand it was virtual. I did. But here we are, like I said, in a health crisis. We don't know where we'll be, who will have COVID, who will be sick, who will be in the hospital, who will be, will the appointee or the awardee be healthy and able? I mean, there's just so much, like I said, the floor is just moving around so much. And I, not that I'm scary, but I am concerned. I'll be 70 years old in January. Did y'all know that?
Oh, wow.
I am elderly. I'm of the elderly community. So I pretty much take care of myself. I don't go out and do a whole lot of stuff going on. But what I'm saying is, with so much being, we don't know who's going to be what, when, where, what. who, that kind of thing. So that was my position on that. But I mean, I hear you. I understand what you're saying, that it's virtual and we could record and, we could put it up and all of that. But, there's still that element of uncertainty that is causing some concern for me. That's
Thank you, Francis. Luis, did you put up your real hand?
I'm not sure how this thing works or whatever. I see everybody talking and hands and this and that, and I don't see a hand.
Do you see at the bottom of your screen, on your video screen, do you see a symbol that looks like a man?
Yeah.
Nope.
It should be maybe the fourth symbol in.
You're talking about if I move the mouse?
Yep, if you move the mouse,
okay.
it'll show. See the one that looks like a man?
Yes.
You want to click on that.
Okay.
And then you see a panel came up on the right side.
Right.
At the bottom of that, you see all our names listed?
Yes.
Okay, at the bottom of that panel, do you see a hand?
Nope.
Ah, okay, that little hand.
Yep.
Okay.
You want to use that to indicate that you want to speak, okay?
Okay.
All right. Perfect, exactly. You got it up.
So I'm speaking now. Actually, before I wanted to say this before, but I never got to finish when I was talking. But I'm not one that's moved too much by fear. And I understand about caution and all, and I think that I heard Joe and oh gosh, I heard that people were into the virtual. I believe that it's moments like this when you see people come and rise above all of the fear, all of the anxieties and so on, to continue and to let the world know that we are working, that we are united in our cause, and that we have to keep moving forward, even though there are the illnesses and all of the civil unrest and so on. So I'm of the opinion that we should cancel the attendees banquet, if you will, like we've had in the past, but continue with the idea of establishing a virtual awards presentation that could be videotaped and so on and shared with whomever. That way it lets the world know that we're still alive, we're still working, we're still moving forward. We are not going to allow this COVID or anything else to stop us from moving forward. And I believe that the last time we spoke about the banquet dates and so on in the months, there was a lot of discussion about moving it to December from what we used to have before. So here I'm hearing again the talk about let's move it to another month when we've already gone through that discussion. So let's just bite the bullet. Let's do this thing. Let's honor the people we have to honor. Let's let the world know that we're alive and well and that we're moving forward. So you can take that as a motion or not. I don't know if you want further discussion.
Okay. Thank you, Luis.
Correct.
Sylvia?
I've had my hand up a while.
Oh, Tom, did you put up your virtual hand? Make sure you put up your virtual hand.
No, I think so. You see me?
I can see you. I can hear you too. Go ahead, Tom.
I was thinking, and I don't know what Louis just kind of was saying one thing, and I thought he was saying another. But what I'd been thinking along was, it seems like these are two things. One is similar to what someone said about us having a virtual end of year report sort of thing, annual report, and include a lot of the things that have been going on, express appreciation to a lot of the people, the unsung heroes, maybe in a videotape that possibly would be on TV. I mean, definitely, I'm sure that our city TV would do this for us, but it could even be an interview on, our regular local news people channels. But it would talk about what human rights has been doing and about concerns, recognize unsung heroes. And I know Beatrice has done a lot of things. Things have gone through the General Assembly that we've all been concerned about. Just our efforts and our concerns about the COVID effects as well as the racial unrest. Maybe, you know, a program like that that just would include the Human Rights Commission people speaking about that, and then also have a recognition of, just as we always have, the awards ceremony, because there are a lot of people doing good things in the community all the time, and it's a very nice ceremony, and it's a very good thing to show the community, to let the community know what we're doing also. But I'm thinking about two different things, and one would be to put some real thought into going ahead and planning on this sort of annual report presentation that would include all the things people have been talking about. And then whether the award ceremony would try to be in December, but it sounds as though from what people have said, that it's really a big risk, and perhaps do postpone that, maybe even announce it, and still, in, you know, then we'd have time to get the criterion ready as far as the nominees, et cetera. Does that make sense? Y'all know what I'm saying? You're free to.
Okay.
Hello.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. Sylvia, I see your hand is up.
Ginger, does Ginger have her hand up?
She does. I can unmute Ginger as well if you both want to speak. Ginger?
Yes. This is Ginger Gencott. In looking at the timeline and with keeping a virtual human rights celebration for December 10th, we could pull it off. We actually could. We have to announce it to the public on August 1st, which means that our artwork and post, a lot of pressure on Dominique. Where are we? We're July 7th. So would have a couple of weeks to be able to post that. And then it's upon every commissioner to solicit nominees and get the applications completed and in by September 25th. We have completed the application form, updated that already, so that could get to you on Thursday at the meeting. The pieces that you need could come to you on Thursday if this group decides to recommend going to a virtual event. So I would do everything in my power to help us meet those deadlines and to make it happen.
Thank you, Ginger. Sylvia, did you have something to add?
Yes. I heard what Louis said, and I know he's fearless, but we are 5 months into the pandemic, and we know nothing about, I mean, very little. We know very little except it's contagious and it's killing people. And the reason we didn't have observations when we didn't send out the notice to the independent observers because, you know, if I went out, that's me. But if I ask other people to come to something and they get sick, I would feel awful. So we're 5 months into the pandemic and we're only 5 months out from having this. So I think we first, before we vote on anything else, we need to absolutely decide whether or not we would try and do it virtually over physically and rule out physically, and then decide what we're going to do, whether it be just a unsung hero video, or that we're going to try and pull off the award ceremony virtually, which is also a big if, because I know VBT can do it, but is VBTV, how taxed are they with everything else that they're doing virtually? So I should probably have called Kevin Farley before this, but we'll find out. But what do you guys think? You want to first vote on whether or not we should have it virtually or in person? We want to do that?
Okay. Let's see. Joe, you raised your hand.
Yes, this is Joe Burnsworth, And I move that we cancel the live awards presentation for the 2020 calendar year and move it to a virtual format.
Okay. Luis, your hand is up.
No, I'm just agreeing with him.
Okay. All right, Teresa.
I second that proposal.
Tommy.
Hi, would you restate the proposal?
Joe.
Okay, this is Joe Burnsworth again. The proposal is that we cancel the live awards, Human Rights Commission awards ceremony for the 2020 calendar year and move to a virtual format.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of you and see if you agree, okay? So Beatrice.
Agree.
David.
Disagree.
Francis.
I agree.
Ginger.
I agree.
Luis.
I agree.
Sylvia.
Forgot to ask if we had any discussion before we went to the voting of this, because the motion was it was twofold. I had first asked to whether we go live or do virtual. So, okay, so if we vote now to go virtual, then we still go to the next vote whether or not we have a virtual presentation, or I just want to clarify that.
Okay.
Yes, aye.
Okay. Teresa, your vote to cancel the in-person?
Yes.
And Tommy, your vote to cancel the in-person?
I prefer the in-person. So no.
Okay. So next, your vote to do a virtual presentation instead. Beatrice?
I vote yes.
Thank you. David, your vote to do a virtual presentation?
I'm confused how this is different than the last vote.
The first vote was to cancel the in-person.
Oh, got it. So the in-person's canceled. Now we're voting. Since that's canceled, do we want to replace it with virtual?
Correct.
Yes, agree. Sounds good.
Francis, your vote to do a virtual?
Yes.
Ginger, your vote to do a virtual?
Sylvia is trying to speak as the chair, and we need to recognize her, please.
Thank you.
Sylvia?
I think we're getting confused. We voted to not have a in live. That was the first vote.
Right.
And now we're voting, and I really need a motion. I need a motion to say we either want to have a virtual award ceremony, or we want to have a presentation about unsung heroes or something else. So it's, I think the vote this time would be to have a virtual awards, or to have another program in its place on December 10th or during that week, or whenever we decide. Is that what I hear? That
Not clear.
Yeah.
not clear.
Not clear.
Uh,
You have two things again. These votes, these motions are they're too complex. Joe's first motion should have been one thing. It was two things, and it confused me also.
Yeah, I was confused, but I thought we cleared that up, that we were voting to do away with we would do away with the live in person. Is that what
Right.
everybody understood?
Right.
First
And
vote.
then the second one was to do a virtual presentation instead.
And who made that motion?
There wasn't really one.
It was the combination of Joe's.
Okay,
Yeah.
we need a separate motion on that.
Okay.
And I can do that. I move that we conduct a virtual Human Rights Commission awards event in December. Needs a second?
Second.
Luis?
I second.
Yeah, I second.
Okay, we have first and second. Any discussion? I have a discussion. That if we vote on this, that to have this, we are now, where did Teresa go? Is she still here?
Still.
So we would be voting to have the awards, or we were going to recommend to the commission to have the awards ceremony virtually and not to have any of the other proposals. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Teresa?
Yeah, I thought when with the proposal that I seconded was Joe saying that we were canceling the in-person and then moving to consider a virtual award in its place. Virtual ceremony. What that would look like, I think we need more discussion on, Sylvia. So that's why I thought the first motion was clear that we were canceling the in-person and considering a virtual award presentation.
We are.
But it needs fuller discussion if we're going to get, since if that passed, if that motion passed, then we need the full discussion on what that award ceremony would be.
Right.
That would be the next discussion. That's the way I understood it. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Sylvia?
So Teresa, did you want to substitute that motion to have the awards, or if we're in the discussion phase right now, it's been first and second, and that we have virtual awards, but you want discussion on how that would look or what we would be doing. So go ahead and no. All right. Why am I having head shaped?
Well, because the original motion covered both things. It covered canceling live and approving virtual.
Okay, we're just doing the second part of yours.
Well, and there's really no need because the original motion did both. It canceled, and there was no substitute to cancel live and approve virtual.
Okay,
so that we could just do it all in one fell swoop.
Okay. Is that agreeable with everybody? Does that the first vote? Yeah. Well, actually, we already did that. We have it on record as we canceled the live one, and now we're voting to have the award ceremony, but to have it virtually. Okay, has everybody voted? Hello?
What was that, Sylvia?
Has everyone voted?
No, we were in the middle of the
Okay.
voting for the virtual.
Okay, virtual. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So let me start over again and get your votes for moving to a virtual presentation. Beatrice?
I approve. I vote yes.
Thank you. David, your vote for moving to a virtual presentation?
And this is any virtual presentation, or specifically the awards that as opposed to the unsung heroes?
Sylvia?
That's where I was confused. That's why I asked the question.
Well, I'll just vote. I vote we should, if the in-person is canceled, I do vote we should do something virtual, but my vote would be for the unsung heroes approach.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Ginger has her hand up. Francis and Joe have their hands up.
Yeah. Francis, your vote?
I have some question. I heard this second motion from Ginger that said in December. While I vote for a virtual presentation, I wouldn't vote for December. I would vote for whenever we decide to do it, that it would be virtual. I'm kind of with David. I mean, I don't want to obligate ourselves for December. I would vote against December, but I will vote for the virtual. So yes, to virtual presentation.
Okay, thank you. Ginger, your vote for a virtual presentation?
So my motion was to conduct a virtual HRC awards ceremony in December. That was my motion. So we have to be clear on the motion.
And that was seconded by someone,
Luis.
please.
So it was an awards event for December 10th for Human Rights Day.
So to
That's
clear
the
that up,
motion.
so to clear that up, if anybody feels that we should have a virtual presentation that is not awards, you should vote no to the motion on the floor. If you agree to the having awards, you vote yes.
Okay.
So
In that case,
clear it up.
okay. In that case, we're on you, Ginger.
I'm still not clear. Are we starting from the beginning with clarification on my motion?
Your motion was to absolutely have a virtual awards ceremony, not any other, you're not adding or something else. That was your motion, and it was seconded by Louis. So
Right, we're following through on a motion. This
On a
is
motion.
purely procedure.
right, and it's just a procedure. If you want to something else like David had just said, then you vote no to your motion that's on the floor.
Okay.
And then we take discussion after we have
Yes.
the vote.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So then, we're going to continue with the voting then. Joe, your vote? Joe, your vote?
No, I vote no.
Okay. Luis, your vote?
I'm kind of confused now. I can't believe this. Well, I don't see what the problem is personally. If you have a virtual event, you can incorporate all kinds of things. If you come to an agreement, and we still have to go before the entire commission. So I vote yes that we have a virtual, and that it be in December. I believe that's what Ginger was talking about.
Thank you, Luis. Sylvia?
No.
Teresa?
And I'm sorry, I still didn't get the clarity because I thought an unsung hero could be an award ceremony. But if it's not, it's just an award ceremony where we take applications, it's no.
Tommy?
I'm in favor of doing a virtual something in December, but I'm not clear on what it would be.
Okay. All right, then, Sylvia, you mentioned after the voting to open for discussion.
That was Ginger.
Okay.
We really shouldn't have discussion after a vote, but
Ginger?
what was the tally?
The tally was, so out of 9, we had, oops, excuse me. Sorry, my computer just glitched on me. Gosh, okay. Out of 9, we had 2 no's. And Teresa, I was unclear on your vote. I'm sorry. Teresa?
It was a no.
No, okay. So then Sylvia, I'm back to you. So that made it 3 no's out of 9. So Beatrice, did you have something to say? Beatrice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, good. And actually, the confusion is the fact that we are following. When Joe made the motion, before we moved into accepting the discussion of what Ginger was suggesting, then we had to have Joe approve that he was, willing to make an amendment to his motion. And we didn't. And that is where the confusion for everybody is raising, because he actually, we didn't finish voting on what he was suggesting. And that's true. He put the 2 motions together. Now, if Ginger wanted to modify, it had to be that you, Dominique, would ask then Joe if he would accept the, an amendment to his motion. Then, once he accepts that, then we stop considering what Joe was suggesting, and then we would move to consider only what Ginger was suggesting. And so now we didn't finish one, and we have now two motions on the air, and that is inappropriate. So my suggestion is that we regroup, and then we divide the motions back, and by that I would ask Joe if he can withdraw his motion, and then again submit another motion and do it in parts. First, ask us, to vote if we wanted, to do the meeting in person. Then everybody votes. Then do another motion, or have Ginger put another motion on the floor saying, okay, do you want to do virtually? And don't mix any other issue in there. So then now we have clear that we have December as an event. Then we can consider another motion in which we will discuss whether it would be awards or whether it would be another kind of program. But that is what I see, that it is is giving difficulty, because we are allowing people to make motions left and right without really concluding one. And without even the person that submitted the first motion accept that there are going to be any modifications on his motion. So that is my suggestion. So to go back, and I would ask Joe, he can consider resubmitting the motion in parts.
Okay,
Thank
Joe.
I'll do better. I'll withdraw my motion and we can start from ground zero. But I'll withdraw that motion and I will make a new one that cancels the live award ceremony for December 2020.
Okay. And Sylvia, it's open.
Oh, I was just saying thank you to him. Is there
Okay.
is there a second to that easy motion?
Okay, let's see.
second.
Anyone put up the
Ginger's second.
Ginger, are you second that?
Yes, I
Okay.
second.
This is good practice for us.
Okay. So any other? Sylvia?
Can we just raise our hands, or you want to go through the whole thing?
Yeah, I want to go through, so I'm going to go through each person to vote for canceling the in-person awards. Beatrice? Oh, Francis? Are you saying something?
Yes. Before a vote, there has to be an opportunity for a discussion.
Okay.
If a motion is on the floor after the second, there has to be an opportunity for discussion. So Sylvia has to ask, is there any discussion before we vote on each motion? So that would have alleviated a lot of it. That's what I was trying to get in to say. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Francis. Sylvia?
Yeah, and she's right. I'm just going so fast because is there any discussion about Joe's motion that we canceled the in-person awards? Is there any discussion just about that? Canceling the in-person awards?
Okay. Teresa, I see your hand is up.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, Francis, your hand is up.
Yes, I want to make sure that the motion is clear that we are motioning to cancel the in-person awards ceremony for December 2020.
Yes.
Okay.
Sylvia?
Yes, that's what I understand it to be. And that's the only thing we're voting on right now, to cancel the in-person.
Okay. Tommy, you had a,
Oh, yes. As far as discussion, that doesn't specify whether there's an alternative. It just says cancel that. It doesn't say, I guess it'd have to be another motion to say if we wanted. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Thank you.
all right, any more discussion? Okay, then I'm gonna be, ooh, David, did you click? No, okay. I'm gonna begin the vote for canceling the in-person, oh, David, you are trying to get me, okay, David?
Yeah, I thought I raised my hand on the thing.
It blinked, so. I
Okay.
wasn't-
Yeah, I'm not making a prediction one way or the other on whether we're like other countries that are somewhat back to normal or whether we're still going to be in lockdown. I just think we're going to look really silly if things are back to normal and we're doing something virtually. So again, my recommendation would be to just wait a month or two. And I know it's going to compress our timeline, but maybe we can think of an alternative to the awards ceremony, like the Unsung Heroes ceremony, where the timeline won't be as compressed, that we can still roll out in person if this thing is cleared up. That is all I was going to say.
Okay. Any other discussion? Beatrice?
Yes, and I just want to add that even if the country moves safely into, I'm sure that we would not be looking bad for taking precautions and being on the safe side.
Thank you, Beatrice. Tommy, did you have something to add?
No, I don't have my hand.
Oh, okay. Can you put your virtual hand down for me? Just remember, everyone, if you don't have anything to say or questions, to put your virtual hand down. Teresa?
I'm sorry. I must have it clicked. When it's not clicked, what is your hand supposed to look like when you put your finger over your hand? To me, it should say raise hand if you're allowed to raise it. Otherwise, it's already raised. So I'm thinking mine is.
Yeah, if you click on it.
Yes, it'll say raise hand. And
click on it.
It doesn't say raise hand, then it should be
right.
Down. So I'm sorry, I must have left mine in the wrong.
That's okay.
My mistake.
Yep. Okay, any other discussion on this motion? Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and start the vote for canceling the in-person award show on December 10th. Beatrice?
I vote yes.
Okay. David?
No.
Okay. Francis?
Yes.
Okay. Ginger?
I vote yes.
Okay. Joe?
Yes.
Okay. Sylvia?
Yes.
And Teresa?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Okay. Voting is done, and that is 8 yeses and 1 no.
I didn't hear Luis.
Oh, we lost Luis.
Okay.
When did we lose him? Okay. I am not. Sure. Are you texting him, Sylvia?
Yeah, calling him.
Okay.
Hello?
We lost you. Did you, are you?
Yeah, the screen froze. I see you scratching your head and I hear everybody voting, but I can't seem to do anything.
Okay, you can vote by phone.
Okay. I voted the affirmative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you going to stay on the phone all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once again, that's yeah, 8 yeses and 1 no for canceling the in-person awards meeting in December 10th. Okay. All right. Next, Sylvia.
Next, we'll entertain a motion on the floor to do something virtually. I don't know how we want to do this. We want to do this in, Beatrice suggested 2 parts to do
Right.
to do something virtually. So we are now voting, or I'm entertaining a motion to do something virtually.
Okay, anyone second that motion? Joe, I see your hand up.
Yes, but Sylvia can't make the motion.
Okay, okay.
Right.
So it was,
I move that the Human Rights Commission sponsor a recognition event for the 2020 calendar year.
okay. Thank you, Joe.
A virtual recognition event for the 2020 calendar year.
Okay. Does anyone second Joe's motion to host a virtual recognition? Beatrice?
I do. I second.
Okay, thank you, Beatrice. Okay. Now, anyone have any discussion, any comments or questions about Joe's motion for a virtual recognition? Okay. Francis?
Yes. Joe, does that mean December 2020, or does that mean just for this calendar year 2020?
It just meant for the calendar year 2020, and I use recognition specifically so that we could design the event based on the desires of the commission, whether it be an unsung hero or the regular awards that we do, because that hasn't gone.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to clarify that it was December 2020.
Okay. Teresa?
Thank you, Joe. You just clarified for me.
Tommy?
Yeah, that clarifies it. Except I think it would be good to do it on Human Rights Day, December.
Okay. Joe?
That can be decided.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, Sylvia?
Yes. We vote.
Okay. Okay, so we're voting for having a recognition event in the 2020 calendar year. First up, Beatrice?
Yes.
Okay. David?
Yes.
Okay. Francis?
No.
Okay. Ginger?
Yes.
Okay. Joe?
Yes.
Luis?
Yes.
Okay. Sylvia?
Yes.
Okay. Teresa?
Yes.
Okay. Tommy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Once again, the vote for having a virtual recognition event in the year 2020, 8 votes yes and 1 vote no. Sylvia?
Okay. So we have voted to do away with the live and have a virtual something during the calendar year 2020. Does anyone have a idea or a motion?
Sylvia?
Yes.
The motion didn't say in 2020, it said for the 2020 school
Oh, I'm
year.
sorry.
Calendar.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for 2020. Okay. So is this something that the committee wants to make a recommendation to the whole body, or do you want to have just have a discussion and then go from there? We can just say we've done away with the live. We suggest that we do away with the live and we go virtual, and then we can present the ideas to them, or we can go a step further and say we recommend this or that. What's your pleasure?
Beatrice, you had something to say?
Yes, actually, the discussion is now whether we hold it in the, as Tommy suggested, to consider doing it during the Human Rights Week. So that would be my opinion. to have that discussion first. That way we know it will be recognizing heroes from this year, but then, we'll actually cement where the recognition, in what month that recognition will take place. And my feel is that we will be doing two things: recognizing International Human Rights Week, also acknowledging and lifting up the heroes in our community. So I move that we consider Human Rights Week 2020 as, as our possible date.
Okay. Does anyone second that motion? Luis? Do you second that motion? Oh, you can't hear us? Okay.
I can hear you, but I don't know what to do.
Oh, do you second the motion?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So we have
Any discussion?
Any discussion? Joe? Joe, any discussion?
Whoops, that was an accident. Sorry.
Okay. Teresa, any discussion?
Yes, I'm a little confused because my hand was up from when Sylvia was asking the question, should we make the recommendation to the commission or just tell them we want to cancel it and lay it there? I would suggest that we make the recommendation to the commission because you can see how hard this is for just this many of us, and we're focused on this committee work. So Sylvia, I hope that answers that question. And then I'd like to go in and weigh in on the discussion that Beatrice started with, that proposal for having it in December. And I would say that I agree. And the reason is because 2020 is a critical year, and this would be a year that we might not want to single out individuals. We might really want to focus on the unsung collection of heroes across this community for this particular year as a particular focus. That's my input.
Okay. Any other discussion on Beatrice's motion to have it during the Human Rights Week in December? Tommy?
I was going to say that we could do both. I do agree to do it during the Human Rights Week, but we always have a speaker in the beginning, and the speaker could have to do with some of the things that we've talked about that the Human Rights Commission's been involved in the year, and also recognize the people in the community as we would at a regular awards night awards ceremony. We could do both. I don't know what needed, but I do agree with the motion of having it during that week.
Okay. Ginger, I saw your hand up. Ginger, are you still with us?
I took my hand down.
Oh, okay, okay. Sylvia?
Okay, there is a first and a second. Any more discussion? We're voting on leaving the event, whatever it would be, virtually in December.
Okay, all right. Starting with Beatrice?
I vote yes.
Okay. David?
Yes.
Francis?
No.
Ginger?
I vote yes, but the original motion, Sylvia, you said during Human Rights Week, not in the month of December.
Human Rights Week. Oh, did you have more, Ginger?
I voted yes.
Okay. Joe?
Yes.
Luis?
Yes to during Human Rights Week.
Okay. Sylvia?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Tommy? Tommy, can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and a vote of 8 yes and 1 no for having the awards, the virtual recognition during Human Rights Week. Sylvia?
Okay, now we're open to, you want to do a discussion about, I liked what Teresa just said about the importance of 2020, and we're trying to recognize individuals might be difficult, that it is historical. So I'm interested in what everybody has to say about what Teresa just proposed before we take any recommendation. I'm sorry, votes.
Okay. Beatrice, you had a discussion, please?
No, I just have a suggestion. The next proposal should be, I mean, I guess Sylvia's asking Teresa, but we are not clear yet what Teresa concretely is proposing. So I would suggest if somebody can make a motion on the next portion, and to be narrow, that way when we go back to the entire commission, you know, they know that we took this discussion in parts and it was, you know, carefully weighed in by all. So I guess we need a motion on the next thing that we're deciding.
Okay. Ginger?
I'm not sure that we need a motion right now. We need Teresa, if she has further ideas on how to clarify, because to me, the logical minded person, I'm at the point where I'm saying, how do we accomplish this? I know how we do the other, where we solicit individuals for human rights awards. We have a timeline and all, but I need a better picture of what Teresa you have in your mind and what it could look like as far as unsung heroes or individuals. It's not clear to me how to proceed, and I'm the nuts and bolts person.
Okay. Oh. Teresa?
Yeah, I'm happy to respond. Once again, we were coming up creativity, you know, offering creative insights about what we were thinking. So I'm open to whatever, but I guess what I was trying to lift was that the virtual event might give us an opportunity to do everything we'd already done in the way of the awards, but instead of having individual candidates this year, we would look at it more as a community event that we would need Virginia Beach video. So that would be, as Sylvia said, one thing we'd have to see if that's possible. And I'm thinking the vignettes of, you know, the pictures and that kind of thing are already out there. So it would be awards to the community for this movement that has brought us to the awakening of racial and justice equity, as well as a COVID pandemic that has lifted unsung heroes, you know, all of it is unsung heroes throughout the community to address these two issues that are contributions to moving human rights forward in our community. So I guess, Ginger, to give more information, it would be all of us collectively thinking, but I was thinking that we would maybe have those, just like we've done groups in the past that aren't necessarily individuals, it would be those groups that we would be lifting, and as well as maybe a layout of how they connect to the human rights work, which, as Tommy and others have said, could be a breakdown of some of the things we've addressed and maybe some of the policy changes that we've already, have already been provided for the community, thanks to our work and the work of many of the unsung heroes. So I'm sorry that I don't have it fleshed out more, because it was more an idea and a concept. But the only thing that I lifted that I think is really important is that though we did do new criteria, I'm not sure that all that criteria is on that form correctly. So there's a lot of pieces that I think we would have the benefit of being able to work in the sidelines so that we can reinstitute the individual awards next year. So I think I'm suggesting a community award ceremony for unsung heroes, and it's more a virtual presentation.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. Sylvia, you had your hand up?
You can call on everybody else first. I was just thinking that was a good idea.
Okay, all right. Luis?
No, I was just wondering, and Teresa may have explained it, but I'm having a hard time with it. Is understanding what is an unsung hero? An unsung hero is a group, an individual, what? Because I keep hearing groups, that we should favor groups and not individuals, and then I hear unsung hero. So I'm not quite sure what the definition is.
Teresa?
Am I live, Dominique?
Yep.
Yeah,
Teresa?
I can give you what I was thinking of the concept of that, Louise. And Louis, I was thinking of us identifying. It would be an exploration in us as the Human Rights Commission, starting to identify those people like the first responders, the healthcare workers, the Black Lives Matter movement, the poultry workers in the community, essential workers, all the people that daycare workers. I think we would be lifting those groups with vignettes and pictures of what they're doing in the community and how that has contributed to human rights, moving the needle on human rights. To include some of that legislative work. I think it would take some creativity on our part to identify all of those unsung heroes. Yes.
Thank you. Joe?
I was going to say that I like Teresa's idea, and what kept popping up in my mind is the timeline that Ginger kept referring to, and it is brief. But this would give us an opportunity not to be tied to that timeline, but for the members of the commission to bring groups forward. And, if it's emergency room workers, or if it's teachers who have done things they've never done before, in a way that, but it gives us a chance to talk about it and to identify those groups. And I think we probably could pull together a slideshow or that could be worked into a video of the things that have taken place that really resonated this spring and going into the fall, rather than identifying. And there may be specific individuals as well who have led those groups. If we're talking about food banks, who are the leaders of those food banks, or the opportunities to feed people who needed food. So I think it can be a combination, but I agree with Teresa. It's going to take some creativity, but it also helps us wipe out those stringent deadlines that are there. But before we do any of that, Sylvia's going to have to ask Channel 48 if they have time to do that for us.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, did anyone else have anything else to add? Teresa, your hand's up.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Tommy, your hand's up?
Is there a motion on the floor?
No, not at this time.
Question and discussion.
Yep, just a discussion. Did you have anything to add?
Well, I do think it would take some real effort to flesh out, specifically who we want to honor and how we would do it. So it's still a good idea.
Okay, thank you. Beatrice?
Yeah, I think number one, I think that to give ourselves some flexibility, because this is a very unique year, we have to probably then revise the rules that we placed upon ourselves regarding deadlines. And so maybe modify that, because we are not going to probably solicit too much input from the community, especially if we are saying that it's not going to be individuals. So I guess within the body of the Human Rights Commission can come up with the different groups that we know have worked very hard in the community, right? Because if you open this for nominations from the community, people are going to be nominating individuals, and we know that. So we have to have that discussion. And then secondly, within that discussion, remember that the guidelines that we have is that we don't consider people that actually the function of their recognition is something that they're being paid for. And we know that some of the first responders are people that work for the health system. Nevertheless, they went above and beyond. So we have to kind of like, you know, tweak our rules. And I think that is where the next discussion and decisions have to come from.
Okay, thank you. All right, Sylvia, did you have your hand up?
I do.
Okay.
I think the discussion's good, and I think what I'm hearing from everybody basically is we do away. Maybe it should have been a vote, but we are not. I hear people saying we're not into soliciting and having a virtual award ceremony, but rather a recognition. And I like all the ideas that everyone was talking about. Joe mentioned the teachers and the first responders and the people that had to work, the people that worked in Walmart or their food stores or stocking or their truck drive. You know, it could be we have time, and what as Ginger and Joe said, we can do away with the timeline. So we have now a pretty good time to set down, amount of time to sit down virtually and come up with how we would honor those people, whether it would just be slideshow or something. So maybe what I need to do is entertain a motion that we do not have an award ceremony, and then that leaves us open to have the discussion of what we might want to have, because we all have an idea about what Teresa has proposed. Should we do it that way, do away with, ask for a motion to do away with any kind of a individual award ceremony like we usually have and do it virtually? So we're not going to do an award ceremony virtually. We would do a recognition of unsung heroes of some sort. Is that clear? I need a motion, but I'm blabbling.
Ginger, did you want to make a motion? I see your hands up.
We already have a motion and that has passed that reads, we will have a virtual recognition for 2020 during HR Human Rights Week. So I believe that that is covered. It's a virtual recognition, and we already have a motion that has passed that says we are not having a live awards ceremony. So I think, to me, I think this meeting is technically over because this is what we wanted to bring to the commission on Thursday. But I do believe that very soon, in the next few days, another meeting, we need to get back together to decide on, let's see if you can see this, what it looks like, how we're going to do it, and who's involved. We've got great ideas, but I think that's what our next meeting is. And I think this meeting technically could be over.
Okay, thank you, Ginger. Sylvia?
So is that a consensus that we have all decided that there is, because I didn't get that we are not going to have any type of individual awards virtually?
Okay, just Luis?
It's my understanding that Ginger just mentioned that we were going to discuss that at our meeting with the full commission as to the who, what, where, when.
Thank you, Luis. Ginger?
That's not exactly what I said, Luis. I said that we are going to present to the commission that we would not want to have a human rights awards ceremony as we've always had in the past, but instead have a virtual recognition. And so in my mind, the next meeting is, what's it going to look like? And that's for whoever wants to participate, like today. What's it going to look like? Who are we going to talk about as going above and beyond? And how do we make it happen? Those three things. Thank you.
Thank you. Luis?
Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Luis. Sylvia?
Okay, so by consensus, we're on the same page. We are going to do something different than the usual award ceremony. We'll do something in the week of Human Rights Week in December, and it'd be virtually. Is that what everybody understands, so that we're all on the same page?
I'm gonna go through each person just to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Okay.
Okay. Beatrice, we're on the same page?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. David, are we on the same page?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Francis?
Yes, I'm clear.
Okay, thank you. Ginger?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Luis?
Yes, the more I think about it, the more I like Teresa's idea of this group versus individual.
Thank you, Luis. Sylvia?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Teresa?
Yes.
Thank you. Tommy?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so Sylvia?
We're good. This is really good practice for us. I'm now fearful of Thursday, but okay. So thank you, everybody. That was really great. And for Thursday, we will be inviting the liaisons as well to join us. Is that correct? As spectators?
Correct. They're actually be panelists as well, since
Okay.
they'll give them the opportunity to speak.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Thank you. So that was difficult, but we got it. And thank you, Joe, for clarifying things. You say things so well. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Then any other comments, or Luis, did you have something to add?
No, we have a lot of talent in this commission, and this is an example of that talent. Just the discussion we had today.
Great. Okay. And before we go, David, do you want to go get baby and bringing back?
Teresa, you had something to say too.
Yes, Dominique, I just wanted to thank you for your patience.
That's
yes, bravo.
I think we're all on a learning curve right now. So I appreciate your patience, because I'm just as new to this as you guys are. So just thank you. And thank you for being so welcoming with me in this group. So thank you as well. All right. Okay. All right. Tommy, did you have something to say?
We will see the baby.
Oh, baby. David?
Baby is asleep right now.
All right, next time.
He was on here for like 10 minutes.
I know. I was trying to type that, hey, we got a baby that joined us, but it wouldn't go through.
Yeah, I was on burping duty before nap time.
All right.
Okay, so anyone else? Luis, did you have something more to add? Luis?
No, thanks.
Okay, all right. Beatrice, you had something to say?
Yes, I just have noticed that everybody keeps the little hand up, and just for our next meeting, it would really help if we remember to take that hand down, because it seems like something is pending to be said on the previous topic, and it will move us a little bit, nicer when we remember that.
It's gonna be a featured do's and don'ts on the email that I send with the agenda. So I will definitely address that. But this has just been a great practice. So we're all learning. So
that's great.
So anything else, Sylvia?
That's all. Thank you.
All right, Sylvia, can you hang on the line? I wanna ask you a question. But
sure.
Everyone else, meeting's adjourned. You have a great day. Talk to you, I'm sure, tomorrow, but definitely see you on Thursday. Thank you.